we are continuing to recruit. I will leave that particular point up to Ms. Christine Peugeot, our Chief Human Resources Officer, but we are definitely still recruiting not only for HVAC workers, but for bus drivers and teachers as well. With that, I am going to toss it over back to Patrick Smith for any questions that you all may have of us.
Again, if you'll just let us know your name and your affiliate. Courtney, I know you. I'll leave that to our Chief Human Resources Officer.
Thanks for the question. And, you know, frankly, what we are doing in HR nonstop is working our first priority of making sure that we fill those vacant positions. And we don't have systems, unfortunately, that provide us that real-time information. So given our work around making sure that we do everything we can to fill those vacancies as quickly as possible, we certainly will have a more comprehensive report towards the end of this week. With that said, it appears as though we had approximately 420 teacher absences today. I know that we've deployed at least around 170 substitutes. But again, you have to understand that much of our systems work requires us to do manual polls to take a look at that information, and it certainly doesn't make sense for us to do that when we know that we have to work very diligently to close that teacher vacancy gap.
Next question. Here in the back. Dr. Hayes.
Thank you. No, just like on any other first day of school, we understand that we do have delays that will take place just to make sure that, especially our elementary schools, they want to make sure all of our students get on there with the right colors and the right codes and everything else that they take a little bit more extra time with, so that delays for just a few minutes. We do usually on the first day see around 7 o'clock average time of clearing. We can see up to times that go a little bit later than that. We do know at this point in time students are en route in many of our schools. I have a middle schooler right now that is on her way home at some point in time, and we're hoping to get her there. So it's across the district, but this isn't anything new. This usually takes about 2 weeks to get ironed out, and once it's ironed out, then it starts to run much smoother.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to clarify the recent response about substitutes and vacancies. That 420 number includes vacant positions. So that includes the vacancies that we shared that we had before, so those 135 teacher vacancies.
In the back.
Yeah, Mark Becker.
Okay, Mark.
Tonight, any pushback to the question of the superintendent, what's your sense of how it all went? I mean, is it something that has been burning up around the country, and whether it's a feel for how it went?
Mark, can you repeat the first part of your question?
Just Mr. Winston, the matter.
Oh, sure.
Any pushback, reception, it's been controversial, everything.
Thank you for repeating the question. I appreciate that. My experience today, and we had a debriefing a short while ago with our senior leadership team in the district, and the predominant feeling was that it was a non-issue. Our students came prepared, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that our families are partnering with us to set expectations before students arrive on campus. Students got off the bus, they hopped out of the car with their face coverings or their mask on. And so this was a non-issue for us today, and we anticipate with that continued partnership and reinforcing what the expectations are of each and every one of our students, as well as our staff members, that this will not be an issue.
Hunter.
Yeah, I'm sure we got the same to Charlotte. About the teachers being absent, this could kind of go off of that. Were there any students or teachers, staff
So thanks for the question. Really, the answer to that is likely. We would not have that information yet. We would have that information over the course of the next day or so. The way our systems work is school-based staff or sites, wherever these incidents occur, have a reporting system that they use, and that ultimately goes to the DRT team to review. So it's really too early to answer that, but likely we did.
Yes. Yes.
So again, thanks for the question. As Superintendent Winston said, it's hot outside. It stressed the system and a significant amount of schools. So right now we collected, as we had our debrief, we collected the number of schools that would have had 1 to 2 classrooms, buildings, hallways and everything. So we collect all the data, and then we'll see what kind of, one of the things we have is a work order process. So we need schools to be able to input the work order so that we know what we're dealing with, what issues. And so the techs will go out, they're out there right now, being able to kind of fix whatever issues. But I went to 6 to 8 schools myself, and the instruction was occurring throughout. Principals are very well aware of issues on the campus with HVAC, and so they will just swap classrooms, move to areas. Even if cafeterias were affected, we've had 2 schools I know of that had cafeteria issues. They were well versed, and kids came in, got their lunches, and then went back to the classrooms to eat lunch. So overall, instruction wasn't impacted by the HVAC concerns as far as total schools. They could be either without air or air running at half capacity, 50% capacity to that effect. But it wasn't any kind of healthy or unsafe conditions. It really was an area where we just shifted. It could be a cafeteria for an elementary school that's combined with a gym, so the gym classes then went to another part of the school to do their education or whatever they were doing for that period.
Courtney.
Earlier you all mentioned an emphasis on social and emotional learning. You know, for a lot of these students, this is their first time being back in person. Were there any counselors available to talk to them, especially with the impact of COVID over the last year and a half?
Take this one, Dr. Hayes.
Great question. Yes, all of our schools have counselors. All of our schools were well versed and ready to receive students that may need to speak to a counselor for any reason. And so that opens up day one. We do also know that over the next couple of days, all of our principals will potentially be holding either meetings in person or by video to all the classrooms, where they also will be speaking to all the services and support services that are provided to the students within the school, and how they're able to receive those services and who they need to speak to and which to get those.
Alexander.
Yeah, I had several parents bring out over the past few days some concerns of not wanting to have their child in person at school, but also not being able to get to the virtual school. And concerns at the school board meeting last night that there is a wait list. For those parents who don't feel comfortable sending their kids to school, but also can't send them to virtual school, what should they do?
In short, send your student to school with a mask. If you feel uncomfortable, you need to speak. We recommend that you speak to your physician, and then also we ask that you also reach out to the principal of that school and speak to them about their concerns, so they can articulate very clearly what is being done in the school to provide that safe environment for their child.
And I'll add to that just to be clear, that these are brand new schools that we are opening up, because we don't have the option that we had last year to transition students from in-person to remote. So that option's off the table. We're working as hard as we can to clear that wait list. Hunter?
Yeah, last night, I know a couple of the recommendations from the health director are being met or are being worked on. What is the timeline for when all of the health director's recommendations, specifically regarding testing, will actually be underway?
Thank you. So all of the recommendations are either in progress or already in play. So specifically with respect to the testing, we are working as aggressively as possible with the vendor that was provided to us by the state. Now, we just found out who that vendor was in August. So our kickoff meeting was on August 12th. We've had 2 subsequent meetings and then meetings also with the Mecklenburg County Public Health Department in order to get that testing program off the ground. So that's really a long answer to your question. So it's as quickly as possible, but we need to make sure that we can do it with fidelity. So it's going to be a phased-in program, and we are looking at first phasing in, for example, extracurriculars, and then looking, starting at grade level, starting with our high schools, and then down.
And it will be eventually at all campuses.
Yes, district-wide, including central and district office.
Mark?
Yeah, what is there, I don't think, just to clarify the number of part-timers, vacancies, I think 90, is that?
Yeah, it's approximately 87 when you factor in our extended leaves, and of course we want to do that because that's the real impact that we're experiencing. But we're very excited to be able to offer that recruitment incentive now, and I'm understanding, at least anecdotally, that we're already getting some interest as a result of the recruitment bonuses, so that's very good to hear.
Here in the back.
Yeah, Ryan on Fox 46. I know it's a busy day, probably haven't paid much attention. Just across the border in South Carolina, the middle school already has to go virtual because of COVID outbreak. Down there, they can't wear masks. Can you, or again, it's not they can't wear masks, they're obviously no mask mandate. How does that work here? Say every student will be masked. If there is a COVID outbreak, what's the process from what students have to be quarantined and when does it have to reach a level where almost an entire classroom would have to be quarantined?
I'll turn that over to Dr. Hayes. I believe that you're asking around what happens with instruction with those students.
Correct.